So while I was studying yesterday, something very interesting caught my attention and I want to share it. It is a method of philosophy and it's called the dialectic method of Hegel. It consists of a constructive process of opposition and reconciliation. Let's say you have a thought process and you're trying to reach a conclusion. The opposition is made of thesis and antithesis, which is the idea and an opposing idea. Then the reconciliation is synthesis. So we have thesis, antithesis, and then the reconciliation of both is the synthesis. So the interesting thing is it doesn't end there. It becomes like a circle until you reach the absolute, which means you have the thesis and the antithesis, which becomes the synthesis, right? And then your synthesis becomes a thesis on its own, which creates another antithesis. Now, from this, you get a higher synthesis, which becomes a thesis, which has an antithesis, just like that, until you reach an absolute, right? So I was thinking, I was like, okay, this sounds really familiar. I feel like it's something I've used at several points in my life. So I was trying to find a use case. Here's an example. I wish I have a board and a marker. So let's use a popular one. When people say you should always follow your passion, let's take that as our thesis, our first idea. And the opposing idea will be passion does not pay your bills, right? Be practical. That becomes our antithesis. Then our first synthesis could be build, a practical skill, something scalable around what you love. And we could go on and on, but I'd like to end here. What I find most interesting is that a lot of people would pick the first thesis, which is follow your passion, and defend it for life, even when it doesn't favor them. Then there are other people who would also pick the antithesis and defend it for life, even when it doesn't favor them. The question is, what do you do when you're faced with a situation like this? Because this happens every day. You have an argument within yourself, or you have an argument with someone else. A smart way to go about it is asking yourself, what is true? What is true on both sides? What is true in both the thesis and the antithesis? And you can come to a reasonable conclusion from that.